So, hi Owen, how are you doing?
Hey Sarah, I'm good, thanks.
So, Owen, why don't you just introduce, yourself a bit in terms of what you do, and also kind of how you found me, I suppose.
Yeah, so I'm an acupuncturist mainly. I employ some other therapies as well, physical therapies, but acupuncture would be my main go-to skill. It's what the majority of people come to see me for. I found you through a friend of mine, another colleague, fellow acupuncturist who had been on the training with you, and came back so excited and basically, probably distilled uh, everything he knew about NLP in the space of about 2 weeks. And I was going, "What the hell is this?" But I also felt really drawn to it, and then I was experiencing some emotional blocks, some things blocks in my thinking, blocks in my emotions, things I just couldn't get past, and I felt that they were very irrational responses to what was happening around me. So I came to you for treatment, for a session, and I found it amazing. I think I came back for another couple of sessions afterwards in that block. Went away for a couple of years, and then other stuff came up, and I was like, okay, there's one lady that can deal with this. There's one lady that can help me to deal with
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
So yeah, and then it was actually really interesting because again, another block where I went off and did my thing, lived my life, and I another issue came up for me, and I've been putting off going to you, and then I just decided, no, I'm gonna actually give Sarah a shout and go see her, and also talk with her about the training. Said I want to do it, and then that very day I got an email because I'm on your mailing list. I got an email from you with an offer for the course, an early bird offer that included a couple, and I was like, well, if this isn't a sign, what is? So signed up straight away. I think I came to see you as well. We had a session or two. So that's how I found you in a nutshell. Yeah.
Great. And did you research other NLP trainers at all? Did you kind of look around to see what else was out there?
Did I? No.
You
No,
didn't.
no,
Okay.
I didn't because, like, I knew it worked. I had a lot of faith in my friend that had been to your training because I knew how much of a stickler for detail he was, and I knew that, like, if well, first of all, my own experience of working with you, and that coupled with the fact that I trusted my friend's judgment that you were a good person to train with.
Oh, well, that's lovely. And was there anything that I know that I had probably asked you a few times if you wanted to do the training until you eventually did it. So what do you think the obstacles were kind of leading up to you actually deciding to do it? Was there anything that
Again, it was just my own beliefs around money and being able to actually afford it, and then attaching the story to that, and yeah, so that was it. And I get, it's probably a little bit of the way that, like, we all come to these things at the right time, and we probably have to do a few loops on the merry-go-round before we actually get to a point where we go,
I know
okay,
that merry-go-round myself, yeah.
yeah, okay, it's time to change now. I've had enough of this. So I would I would be willing to hazard a guess that those were the blocks for me.
And so obviously you've already sort of said that you had a few sessions with me, so you knew the impact that NLP could have on you, kind of
Mm.
on a personal level.
Mm.
And so in terms of then deciding to do the training, though, what was the main sort of motivator to then go and actually do a full, because it's a long training. I mean, it's 8 months of your, out of your life. It's not a full 8 months, obviously. It's 15 days in total, but it's a big commitment, isn't it?
It is. So there's two things. First of all, I felt a big draw to it. I really felt that it was right for me, and again, like, there was that voice there telling, like, basically reminding me every now and again, yeah, that training's still got to go do that training on. Still got to do it. So that was there, and just everything I'd learned about NLP through. I did read, I did read some books before the training, and then seeing how my friend used it, and speaking with some other people, I really just had a strong sense that it's really the key to communication. It's the key to, like, I was having a conversation with a friend recently who's also trained with you, and I managed to put it in a way that I was pretty happy with. I think it's the key to decoding the human experience.
Very nice. Yeah,
for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I knew that it was right for me, and I knew that it was something I needed to study in order to live the life I want to live.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty. It's pretty big, isn't it? Really, to have something so powerful then that, and I'm going to make an assumption here. I'm assuming that you use it in your professional practice as well, though. It's not just in your.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's very important.
Has it changed that at all your practice?
It has. I mean, I've had a couple of clients. I've worked with a couple of clients in an NLP setting, let's say, doing a session, and a couple of the clients that I've worked with have gotten really great results. Like there was obstacles in their lives that aren't necessarily that big of an obstacle anymore, and I've got some lovely feedback from my clients in that way. On a more subtler level. So anyone who's a therapist knows that, like, if a client, if you fail to make that connection with a client where they're going to listen to the advice that you're giving them, be willing to make the changes in their lives that are going to assist their health, it's going to be a long process otherwise. So rapport is essential. I mean, rapport is something that I had with some clients and didn't have with others. But I had no concept of building rapport and what rapport was. I mean, I had an idea about the body language, but it was when we started to bring in the breathing, the tonality, using the words that the client use in your communication. Also, the clients rep system, like their predicates. If someone's visual and you're speaking, like, I would be very, I would process the world in a very kinesthetic way.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, I do. So like, if I was using that language, if someone who's very visual or very auditory, I mean, yeah, we're still speaking English, but it's not connected in the way it needs to. So it's those things, because as a therapist and as a practitioner, I think it's Hippocrates that's quoted as saying, before you attempt to heal someone, you must first find out if they're willing to give up the things that have made them sick.
Wow. Yeah.
And as well, like, incorporating in a lot of clients want to know the reason for the changes you're asking them to make, or the reason that this has happened to them, or they are the way they are. And also with acupuncture particularly, there would be a certain percentage of people that will come to you and they just want you to fix them. They don't actually want to make any changes. They just want you to fix them. So
that happens with NLP as well sometimes.
Yeah,
and just tell me what to do and tell me how to think, and it's like, it doesn't work like that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And so even incorporating metaphor into our explanations and metaphor and comparison. So I mean, one that I like to use is when so when someone breaks a bone and they go to a doctor. The doctor sets the bone, and he's done his job. It's then up to the person to actually create the environment within their body and within their life that actually allows their body to fix that bone and to heal it and to make it stronger. And it's simple things like that. And again, the NLP training has given me the concept of metaphor. Like, we all know, we all use metaphors on a daily basis. It's just we don't realize why or how or what we're actually using. We're just talking a lot of the time. And I would say though, as well as rapport, the thing that probably has made the biggest difference to not just my treatment but my life in general is the concept of chunking up and chunking down. I mean, that has
It makes me
literally,
laugh because a lot of students, when we start doing this, there's this panic, isn't there, of how much do I have to go up and how much do I have to go down? And it's like, actually, there is no set value. You have to follow the lead, don't you? You follow your own lead and you follow your client's leads.
absolutely. And I found that, like, when clients and people, I mean, I'm not sure if everyone can relate to this, but like we all like there'd be a lot of instances where somebody would say something, and I kind of go, and you know, you get this kind of feeling in your chest, where it's like, oh, you know, what's that about? And you know, it's you know, what's that about? And then you know, we have this automatic response, and then we're defending our position and all this. When sometimes if we just figure out, like, what is this person actually saying? You know, if I listen to the words they're using, what are they asking me a question? Are they just making a statement? How did they come to believe that? How is that a problem for that person? You know, and things like this. So when I take a step back and I ask those questions first, and then, you know, I ask the person for more detail than what they're talking about. The odd person goes, well, I'm just saying this. But a lot of people actually realize that you're taking interest in what they're saying. You want to understand specifically where they're coming from, what they're saying. You want to have as much information as possible about their situation in order for you to respond appropriately.
Absolutely, and it helps them to get clarity.
Mm.
Because often we just say things. We talk at a level of detail that we think everybody else understands what we mean. So chunking up and chunking down, it's a very kind of NLP kind of jargon, technical term, but essentially it's just simply going, is this person talking at too high a level, so I don't have enough detail, but I'm making assumptions because of the level that they're at? Or are they talking in such detail that we've lost track of actually where is this even going and what is it even for? And most people, because they're just so used to talking at that level of detail, they just assume everyone else understands it in the same way that they do. And of course, we can't.
No, we're all completely insane. And you know something? It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And so was there anything in particular that kind of made you the happiest about the actual training? Was there anything about the training that...
Yeah, when we did, like, you know, we know that there's probably more, but there's two main ways that we use to help people, techniques we use to help people, you know, change limiting beliefs about themselves. So when we were doing the map across version of that, where we changed limiting beliefs, I realized, actually through chunking up and chunking down, at the start of that process, when I was doing it with my colleagues, that I was the client in this situation, and I realized that I had a very limiting belief that life was difficult, and, you know, to get anything done in life involved a lot of energy and a lot of struggle. And you know, I was shown then that belief was ridiculous, because it didn't feel right then when I was going, oh, hold on, where did I come up with this? So I had the opportunity, I was given the opportunity to map across to another, first of all, to clear that belief, and then to actually install a new belief that was basically life is simple and easy. And the experience I had there was, you know, like a thread had been pulled, and it just unraveled a load of knots and a load of obstacles, and it literally has changed my life.
Oh wow, that's amazing! And then it's a very simple technique as well, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't involve the story. It doesn't involve you having to figure out where it actually came from. It's the fact that it's there. You know, and it's amazing because beliefs are interesting, because once we've adopted them, we then just believe they're true. We no longer challenge them. You know, and they just continue to create blocks and problems, and, you know, if they're a limiting belief. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how just taking out what seems like a very sort of, you know, simple belief actually can have such a massive knock-on effect. And so did anything about the actual training itself, the way it was delivered, was there anything about that you liked?
I did. What I loved about your course is obviously like the majority of NLP courses that I'm aware of are intensive. They're full immersion. They're like maybe 2 sets of 4 or 8 days, and for us, training with you, I mean, we had an opportunity. There was so much support there for us. I mean, we had, first of all, we had the weekend, then we had then we got the recordings. We had our webinars. We also, like, there was a requirement to work with to get our 40 hours with our clients. So all that built itself up, and as well, it created a huge sense of community between the group of us that were doing it. That is still there.
Oh yeah.
Even though we're not, not actively training at that moment, like that's there. Like, I mean, like the guys are only a text or a phone call away. Like, I need a bit of help. Boom, it's there. And yeah, like for me, that felt very special. That opportunity. So, and I feel, I mean, like, I honestly feel blessed for that opportunity, because I know it's a special course, and I know that it's probably one of the only of its kind out there.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I say it to the group at the beginning of every training. You're sitting amongst strangers, but really this is going to be your NLP family. And I'm always so honored to be part of that, because obviously, although I kind of withdraw out of the group to some extent, after the training is finished, you always know that I'm here for you as well, that I'm here to support you, and really, I become friends with most of my students. It's a genuine friendship that emerges, and it's not just between the students, it's with me as well. So I always feel so blessed myself as well, and so honored to be part of everyone's journey in a little way. That I can. Was there anything that exceeded your expectations? You obviously had an expectation of the course. Was there anything that you felt kind of took you beyond that?
What I was surprised by was there was a couple of instances working with 1 or 2 clients where they wanted something very specific, and they were asking for something that just a little bell went off in my head, going, hold on, this just doesn't actually feel right here. And in those situations, I mean, there's 2 in particular, I had to trust my gut and just explain to the client, from where I'm sitting, it seems to me like you're actually asking me to help you rewire something internally that will enable you to have more control over a particular situation. And it's your choice if that's what you want, but I really feel that it would be irresponsible for me to assist you with that at this present moment in time. And to be honest, like I mean, it was a bit scary because I was training, but I trusted my gut, I trusted my instincts, and both people actually told me that, yeah, they actually said the feedback I got afterwards just said, you were right there to do that. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was that exceeded my expectations, because I didn't expect to actually have that level of I don't know, you can call it intuition, you can call it insight, you can call it the unconscious, your gut, whatever, just telling you. But I didn't expect to have that experience. I expected it to be kind of a more cerebral process. Let's say, yeah. And
I think we have in the box thinking, which is, this is the process and these are the steps of the processes and this is why it works and everything else. But really, for me, NLP is more out of the box, unconscious, as you said, trusting your instinct, trusting your gut, because that's where really our power lies, is actually in that ability to assimilate information. And it's not just what you're hearing, it's what you're seeing, it's that sense of feeling. And yeah, everything is based on, an ecology check. Is this actually right? Is this okay? The change that this person's asking for, is that actually going to be good for them, for their, their friends, their family, the community, the environment, to really make that check. And it's important. And it is important to me as well that I'm doing that as I'm training, and that you guys are doing it, as you're working and you're practicing with each other and with your clients afterwards. So yeah, that's really great to hear. Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. And is there a main reason that you would recommend this course to anyone? Is there anything in particular you think, yeah, this is why you need to do it?
Well, well, let me think. But when you're actually going through the course, you're effectively, it's okay. So it's a learning course. You're learning how to be a practitioner, and it's also a self-development course, because in learning the techniques and working with your colleagues in the training environment, you're you're getting an opportunity to actually clear a lot of things that are holding you back, a lot of baggage, a lot of kinks internally that are effectively, I'm going to go out and limb here, and it's a bit of a judgment, but ruining your life, because they were ruining mine.
Yeah.
So if there was, that would be one of the things that I would recommend. Sorry, that'd be one of the main reasons that I would recommend the course to somebody. Was something else I was going to mention there, but it's gone. It'll come back before the end of this interview.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a fantastic opportunity because for all the reasons I've said. I mean, you're learning skills, you're learning life skills, but you also have an opportunity to actually do some work on yourself. So, and
yeah, I always say, I always advise everybody in the group. I said, you've kind of got two hats that you have to wear in this course. The first one is you. Just put your own hat on. How would this technique help you? What blocks have you got that this technique could help for you to remove? Because without you having an absolute experience of that technique, you'll probably never use it with anybody. You won't trust it. So there's no role play, is there?
There can't be.
There's no role play. It's all real, and that scares some people. And some people think, no, I'm happy, sort of, because I mean, the reason I wanted to talk to you is because you were already seeing clients in terms of your acupuncture and the other physical therapies that you do. And I think sometimes when people are doing particularly physical therapies, there may be a sense of, that the emotional, the mental side of things is not necessarily, part of that. They know it. I don't think any physical therapist can say, oh yeah, the emotions have no role in this. But it's almost like, oh no, that's another set of techniques and they need to go and see somebody else for that. But I love the fact that a lot of physical therapists actually come to do the course because they know that they need to incorporate these skills to really help their clients kind of, go another step. So yes, you're wearing it for yourself and you're straightening out those kinks, as you said, that are holding you back. But it's only through having that direct experience yourself that you then go, okay, when a client comes in and they're talking, you immediately go, oh, I know this technique because I know it's worked for me. So I always encourage everyone to have as much experience with all of the different techniques so that, you'd have that toolbox, when someone comes in. Yes, you've got the building rapport and the listening and the language, which kind of holds everything together, doesn't it? And then the individual techniques, and there may be something you never use because you just don't have those types of clients, but you've probably seen so many people come in, and as you said, you can do the physical level, but then it's up to them to go home and create the environment and to change their behavior to really allow that healing, to really take place and to actually continue. And they are the only person in charge of that. So it's I just love having physical therapists on the course because I can see the difference it makes to their practice from that way. So do you think there's anything I could have done differently?
Oh, this is that question. Okay. Let me think. Hadn't considered it. I'll have a think now. Let's see. There's nothing coming to me, to be honest. I could make something up, but
no.
to be honest,
there's nothing.
There's nothing actually coming to me.
Well, I have developed the course over the years. I mean, I again, hand on heart, I used to be one of those trainers that would deliver a very intense, very quick course. It's still the same content, but it's really condensed into, sort of 7 or 8 days. And then I give people their certificate and off they'd go. And the feedback I was getting from people who I would then follow up with to see if they were practicing and had, started their coaching, was that they didn't have enough confidence in the processes and in themselves. And how to set up with the clients. So actually the course became so extended actually as a result of students' feedback. So I'm always open to feedback. So then I recorded the courses so people could go back and they could listen to the training again, and actually I don't know if you've done that, but I know everyone who does listen to them again.
I was listening to it last weekend, or the weekend before, actually.
And do you hear something different when you go back and listen again?
I heard stuff I'd forgotten. So I heard stuff that I'd forgotten, and I'm not sure if I would have actually remembered it had I not listened to it again. I haven't listened to it again. It's now anchored in there.
Yeah,
so
ways have built up.
That's invaluable. Yeah, I mean,
you have the practice weekends where you've done all the training, and then you come back and you bring your bodies and you swap people. That was again a result of feedback that people said, we really like you to be in the room when we're working with somebody that we haven't met before, so that just I'm holding your hand, but I'm not holding your hand. Was the aim. So I hope that was how it kind of came across, was there is that support, but it is about also I trust you guys, and if I didn't, I would always have a conversation and see what could be done to really get the confidence and the confidence back up. So if someone was considering doing the course, what would you say to them if they were kind of on the fence and not sure if this was the right one for them?
I'd tell them to do it. I'd say go do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, it's funny because I'm in a space at the moment where I'm just letting a lot of people be. I've kind of stepped back and.
If they were asking you a question, I suppose it wasn't that you're telling them what to do, but if they'd been thinking about NLP and they'd been looking for a course.
I would reference my personal experience, because that's all I can really. That's all I really have in a way that I know is honest and authentic. So I would share my personal experience with them, and then I would hope that that would help them to make up their own mind either way, because I think that's the most powerful.
Well, this is why I'm talking to you, actually. That there's no point me telling people do the course, because I actually don't know what people are going to get out of the course, to be honest. I mean, I know what techniques they're going to get, but I don't know on a personal level actually what is each individual in the group going to get, because it's down to them. It's down to them. What are they going to work on? Are they willing to go there? And you were willing to go there. I could see it. You were just like, yeah, let's just do this. And that was fantastic to see. That's how I was on my training. When I did the NLP, I was like, I'm done with this way of being. It is ruining my life. If I'm going to continue this pattern, I have to then just accept that that's the way I'm going to be. But if I don't want to continue the patterns in my life and this reoccurring stuff that just kept coming up, then I knew I had to find a way. And that's how I found NLP, was through looking at patterns and going, right, I'm done. I'm done with these patterns.
I'm very, very similar myself. It's that's actually reminded me of something. Remember, I said I was listening to recording there two weekends ago, and one of the things that you mentioned in recording that what was your perception of NLP at that time in that moment, and was that we through life we end up kind of internally, we've got all these fragmented parts going on, and they're all running their little programs, and they all think that they're keeping us alive, and they're all very powerful. And NLP is about integrating as many of those back into the whole as possible, so they all work together. And I think that explanation, I found that very profound, and I was like, yeah, that's really good. I would share that with somebody if they asked me about doing the course, as well as my own experience.
Brilliant. Well, Owen, always a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for doing this, because it's just really powerful to hear really the impact it's had on the people who've done the training, rather than from me. So yeah, unless there's anything else.
There's one thing, and I think, as you probably remember, it's probably, I don't know, it could be the same in every training. Like when I think it was the first module when we went through the communication model, and the from an NLP point of view, all perception is actually projection. So everything we perceive is actually projection, and I really took that in and went, oh, thank God. And what that has given, and I'm living that now. Okay, there's moments when I forget, and I go back. So and
you're all human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, So yeah, what that has done, that knowledge, that our perception is projection, and that everyone else is experiencing more or less the same projection, it's given me a huge sense of freedom with not having to be right. Okay, not having to be right, because we tend to be conditioned away that we need to be right all the time, we need to be knowledgeable all the time, we need to make all the right choices all the time. If we're feeling bad, then we've done something wrong, whereas maybe we're just feeling bad, it's something internally. And that knowledge and incorporating it into my life has allowed me to go, just something, I don't know the answer, and I don't need to know the answer. And it's given me a huge sense of personal freedom, and it's helped me to be far more relaxed person. And friends, I don't know, we've all been in situations where there's arguments, and sometimes they're political arguments, sometimes they're philosophical arguments, sometimes they're spiritual arguments, sometimes one spiritual person, one non-spiritual person, and then of course the scientific arguments, and like I'm able to see that now and go, like, we don't know if any of that's true.
Wow.
Really.
And as you said, that gives a huge sense of freedom.
A huge sense of freedom and a huge sense of relief.
Yeah.
And a huge, and it actually gives a real, I feel that it gives one permission, it gives me permission, it allows me, I give myself permission to just be and be myself. And
who else can you be?
That's it, yeah.
When people are trying to be somebody else that they're not, it causes so much stress in their lives, doesn't it? It's that constant worry and constant questioning of themselves, and and I think again, kind of that touches back in terms of how you work with a client, is that you actually don't know the answer to their problem, they do. So not having to have the solution, it's quite and for a lot of people, they struggle, don't they, at the beginning of the course with that. They're in advice mode. They're so used to just telling everybody, what they know and how they should be. You should be like this, and you should be doing this. And to really take that step back and go, no, I'm coaching that person to their solution according to their world, according to what they want. There's no agenda from the practitioner point of view. You are just a facilitator. You're just helping. You're there to help them communicate better with themselves. And I love that, because I just never know what's going to happen in the session. So some people, that scares the life out of them, and this wouldn't be for them necessarily, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. But someone who really wants to explore themselves and help other people to really go on that personal journey. I don't know anything as good as NLP, and I've done a lot of trainings, as you know. I bring a lot of extras into the course, but everything always comes back to the NLP as my core, as my base. So that's great to hear that, that just giving you that kind of that. And it gives you freedom even as a practitioner, that you don't know the solution, because you're not expected to give advice, which is wonderful. So I am going to let you go, because I've taken up way too much of your time already. Owen, you're a star. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Sarah.
And we'll chat to you soon.
Chat soon. Bye. Bye.